Do you find that your children are perhaps behaving a little bit more differently, a little bit worse behaved than normal? Maybe they've got something on their mind. It seems that they're worrying a little bit more than usual as well, and maybe they can't sleep properly at night. Well, we're in the midst of an anxiety epidemic, so it's no surprise that actually it's affecting our children too. I'm delighted today to have with me a parenting and trauma expert, Jane Evans, who's also spoken recently at the prestigious TEDx conference. Welcome, Jane. It's lovely to have you with us.
Hi, Harriet. It's really good to be with you.
So children, Jane, now you've worked a lot with children with anxiety. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've been working with families for about 22 years now, so predominantly with parents now, but previously a great deal with young children, and then I worked extensively with teenagers for nearly a year and a half.
Okay.
And anxiety is a huge problem, which is often seen as bad behaviour.
Okay, so parents probably wouldn't be necessarily aware that their children are anxious. They just think that their children are playing up. Is that the case?
Yeah, definitely. I hear it again and again because obviously, particularly if you're parenting on your own and your child's behaviour is really challenging, then that's going to be an added pressure for you. And it's really hard to stand back. And actually, I was tweeting about it this morning, talking about having compassionate curiosity.
Okay.
So looking, beyond the child's behaviour, which is causing you a lot of problems, and thinking, why? What are they worried about? Is there something, underlying this difficult behaviour?
And so what extremes are we likely to see when our child is anxious?
So you might see in all ages actually, but massive meltdowns about seemingly nothing. Everyday requests, just go grab your bag or brush your teeth, or something just goes slightly wrong for them. They can't find their pencil case, or they've had a bit of a fallout with somebody at school, and in your mind you're thinking, but that's nothing. It's it's a bit out of kilter with the real event, and it goes on and on and on. Their kind of upset goes on for an extended period, and they don't really respond much to your intervention, or it makes it worse.
Okay. So how do we approach it? What do we do to help them get through the anxieties that they have?
Okay, well, the most important thing really is to take a look at yourself, unfortunately, being the bearer of bad news. Well, because often children's anxiety, they're mirroring our anxieties. We're very emotionally linked to our children. Deeply linked in a kind of more animal-like way than we appreciate. We tend to think all about the brain and the intellect, but actually children are very wired into our emotional state and the signals, the energy that we give off from our body, never mind what our brain is doing or saying. So even if we are pretending that everything is great, if really we're stressed to the hilt and we're anxious and and it's kind of playing out in our physiology, then that will have an impact on the children and more than likely make our parenting a bit more challenging anyway. So it's really important to start with yourself and have more awareness and see how calm you are around your children and how much you're able to actually emotionally interact with them just throughout the day. So not when something has gone wrong, but just what's your level of emotional interaction rather than running through checklists, which we often do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's something that as single mums we're very challenged with anyway, because so much going on. And if a child plays up, rather than keeping calm, we've got this massive to-do list, and we're trying to keep on top of it. So we really have to work on our own state of mind, I guess, and keep calm, and that'll impact on our children, and it'll be much better all round. But it's just, how realistic is it to think that we can do this as single mums?
I think it's just so vital that it really does mean that we do have to take a long, hard look at ourselves and our lives, not in a critical way, because we're very good at doing that. Again, in a compassionate way, and say, right, what can I let go? How can I tend myself first in some tiny way, even if I just in my head speak more kindly to myself?
Okay.
So it's not the big things, because because, you know, I've been a single mum, and it's really hard to do more than you're already doing. But changing the dialogue you have with yourself is a really good starting point.
Okay.
And just being mindful to take time to breathe, to be calm, to actually be present in this moment now, especially in the life of your child.
James, go back to the children. And so if we realise that they are suffering from anxiety, and we check in on ourselves and we try and make ourselves calmer and all those things, what if the anxiety continues with our children? How can we? Should we get extra help, or what's the solution? And how do we train our children to also ease their own anxiety?
Yeah, I mean, there's several things you can do. So number one is you can learn things that you can teach your child in everyday life. So you can teach your child, whatever age they are, to do some deep belly breathing.
Okay.
So, you know, this is what we do. You can have fun with it, even with an older child, even if they roll their eyes in their head at you, it doesn't matter, because they're still taking it all in. So you modeling, oh God, you know, I just feel really stressed at the moment. Oh, I've got to stop and do my belly breathing, and put your hands on your stomach and just breathe into your hands, out. Just literally 2 or 3 of those. Okay. You're showing your child, oh, we can get stressed. Right. We can feel worried. But look, we can do something. Yay! Okay. And creating tiny, weeny things like that with your child. Oh, I'm just feeling really, really worried about, because I've got to go to the dentist today. So I'm just going to take a minute, and I'm just going to really notice that actually right now I'm safe. I'm standing on the ground. Okay. I can touch the wall. So you're modeling bringing themselves back into the moment. So the more that you just do that as part of your daily life, so no big event, just do it throughout your daily life, then they will pick up all these tips.
Okay.
But also often getting support yourself. I work with a lot of parents now who didn't realize how anxious they were themselves. They want to bring their children to me, and I say, no, you come.
Okay.
And then they discover once they come to me that, oh, actually, yeah, I'm a very anxious person, have been since I was a child. Right. And oh, I see now. And so I work very hard with them. And then, of course, you know, things change.
So really what we're saying is that actually anxiety in children is really a reflection of what's going on in their household, probably more than anything else. Okay.
And what's happened early on. You know, if we had very stressful pregnancy, a difficult birth, if we were unhappy or under a lot of pressure when the baby was first born, you know, that's when a child's brain, the first 2 years of their life, is doing the most developing. Okay. So what happens, we know now, before birth and in the first 2 years, has a profound impact on our child's physiology and psychology, which we can do something about, but we shouldn't neglect.
But if, for example, after the pregnancy and the 2 years in, and the mum or the family household is calmer, but the child is still showing signs of anxiety, what then? How do we help?
Well, I would still say, you know, the same thing. It needs to be very body-based. Okay. Giving the child body-based practices it can just access, and there's loads of simple ones that I use when I work with people. You know, some people do go and get their children medicated, but that's not going to change the ongoing story for that child. It's just going to, at that time, it might calm them down. And also a very, very important part of this is giving children the names for their feelings. Okay, so, you know, sometimes, especially in the early part of a child's life, if we are in a situation where we can't be very emotionally engaged with our child because it's either not safe or we're ill or for whatever reason going through a messy separation, then a child grows up without the ability to recognize their own feelings in their body and to put them into verbalize them, and then of course that does enhance your anxiety. I mean, that's part of the reason for my latest book, which is a simple story about 3 animals, and one of them gets very panicky and the others help, but actually it's the 3 areas of the brain which it then explains to the children, and it gives them exercises to do, because it turns out it's all about stilling the body, and then the brain has a chance to calm down.
What age group is the book directed at, Jane?
It's directed at 2 to 6 year olds, but I honestly think it would help anyone of any age, because it just, you can have fun with it. Even, even if you were to give it to a friend that is really anxious and say, you might want to have a look at this, just as a way in to say this is actually quite normal.
Right.
And the exercises work as well for adults as they do for children. So,
so it's a good book to have for the whole family by the sounds of it.
Well, it is really, because I always try and make everything I learn about neuroscience and neurobiology and whatever I learn simple, so people can pick it up, use it and go and really, have a calmer, more relaxed life, especially with their children.
Fantastic. Well, Jane, before I let you go, can you let people know where they can get hold of the book and how to find out more about you?
Yeah, sure. The book is available on Amazon. It's called Little Meerkat's Big Panic.
Okay.
And it's actually out on the 21st of March. So I'm very excited about that. And then to find out more about me, I'm very active on Twitter. I'm at Jane Parenting with a number 2 on the end.
Okay.
And my website is all the W's, thejaneevans.com.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. I know I've learned a lot, and hopefully our audience will have too. So thanks so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be with you.
Bye, Jane. So that was Jane Evans, parenting and trauma expert, and I found that fascinating. I hope you did too. And we'd also like to hear from you. If you've got any particular struggles, perhaps your children have got anxiety and you want to ask more questions about it. If you do, you can find us in all the usual places on social media, or you can email me directly, harriett with 2 R's and 2 T's at wellbeingexaminer.com. We look forward to hearing from you. And in the meantime, together let's be happy, healthy single mums.